Well, a big shakeup in the political world as Maine Governor Janet Mills is preparing to announce her campaign for Senate.
Mills is planning to take on Republican Senator Susan Collins, who has held that seat for nearly 30 years at this point. News Center Maine political reporter Phil Hirschhorn joins us now with a look at how this is going to change the shape of next year's Senate race. Phil?
Well, this is sort of the heavyweight title fight that a lot of political people were hoping for. And Janet Mills is going to run on her record. She's proud of her record. She'll say it's one of fiscal responsibility with record state budget surpluses, investing in housing, delivering health care, such as by expanding MaineCare, the state's version of Medicaid, through the Affordable Care Act. She's also provided free school meals, breakfast and lunch to all public school kids, no matter what their need is, mitigating climate change with incentives for heat pumps, electric vehicles and solar panels, developing offshore wind, and expanding reproductive rights both before and after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in the Dobbs decision in 2022. Mills lengthened the list of approved abortion providers and legalized later in pregnancy abortions when medically necessary. And that, of course, happened because of Democratic majorities in the legislature. Now, in the coming days, you'll hear Mills and her supporters say she is battle-tested more than any other Democratic candidates. She's won re-election with more than 50% of the vote twice, the first governor of any party to do that since John Baldacci in 2006. And remember, Mills was re-elected over Paul LePage in 22 with a 13% margin. Now, for Susan Collins, she'll be seeking her 6th term in Washington. Next year is her 30th year in the Senate. She's already the longest-serving Republican woman senator in history. This week, she cast her 9,750th consecutive vote. She's never missed one since she started the job in 1997. When the campaign gets going, I think you'll hear Collins talk a lot about bipartisanship and seniority. For instance, in the Biden years, she was the Republican co-sponsor of his big infrastructure and gun control legislation. And her voting record is moderate, especially compared to most Republicans in the Trump era. You'll hear a lot from her about delivering federal funds to Maine almost every stop she makes in the state, and that's something she's empowered to do even better as chair of the Appropriations Committee, which, you remember, all spending bills go through that when the government is functioning normally. At the moment, there are several other candidates seeking the Democratic Senate nomination. The most talked about is Graham Plattner, the oyster farmer and veteran from Sullivan. He's backed by Bernie Sanders, that whole wing of the party. He's already raised $4 million and has had a series of crowded town meetings. Former congressional staffer Jordan Wood's in the race. He's from Lewiston, and he's raised enough money to run TV ads on this and other stations, held 30 events around the state. And Dan Kleben, the co-founder of Maine Beer Company with his brother in Freeport. Now, if it becomes Mills versus Collins, we'll know after next June's primaries if that's the case. This will be one of the most watched and contributed to Senate races in the country. Democrats in Washington, like Minority Leader Charles Schumer, encouraged Mills to run. They believe she can win and help them regain the 3 seats they need to regain a Senate majority and be a stronger check on President Trump, which Mills tends to talk about that in her grievances with Trump. She calls Washington dysfunctional, all that as a biggest motivation, I think, even more than, say, any animosity towards Susan Collins, though she has said she's had disagreements with her.
Just another, you called it a heavyweight title fight,
Yes.
and it is already certainly very crowded.
Well, we
Yes.
thought LePage versus Mills was going to be the race to end all races, and I think nationally, certainly, this is one up from that.
There's just so much going on in that race, and you did a great job covering that.
And again, Mills has to first win that primary. Graham Plattner's campaign has a lot of energy, never mind the others.
No kidding. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.